The next leg of our England journey began with the train from Brighton to London Bridge Station. We walked from there through a bustling borough market and on to our hotel. We highly recommend the Cove Hotel on Cannon Street for a multi-day stay. We had a comfortable room with kitchenette, and the staff was great, especially Teresa from Canada, who mistook us for fellow Canadians, which we always appreciate. Our friends Jim and Julie weren't arriving until the next day, so Carl and I took the tube up to Finchley Road to see the elementary school where he went in the 70s. It's still a school today, but by a different name. After a cafe stop, we headed to Regent's Park for a walk, even though it was a little bit rainy. On our way back to the hotel, we stopped to get some takeout and had an early night, excited to see our friends in the morning.
I'm going with that.
Jim and Julie arrived raring to go even after their overnight flight, so off we went to climb the steps to the top of St. Paul's Cathedral. After the spectacular views of London from above, the Fortons went to tour the Tower of London, while the Goths ambled up to Spitalfields Market and Brick Lane. The vintage markets in Brick Lane are unsurpassed. We don't have pictures, but we met up with Jim and Jules for a lovely dinner at a pub near our hotel before turning in for the night. The next day began for us with a walk along the Thames and through the Victoria Embankment Gardens before meeting up with Jim and Julie at Covent Garden for lunch. Late April was peak tulip time in London. After lunch, we explored a bit in Carl's old neighborhood of High Holborn, where he lived during the guy's college semester in London. On our way to the West End, we serendipitously ran into the Tweed Run, an annual event where cycling enthusiasts dress up in their vintage tweed and other finery for a ride through London. What fun! Next, it was on to our matinee of the Book of Mormon at the Prince of Wales Theatre. Our sides literally hurt from laughing so hard. What a fantastic show and performance. To finish off a great day, we had dinner at a swanky restaurant in Soho, 100 Wardour Street, where we had an amazing meal and caught some of the first set of the evening's act. We walked back to the Cove Hotel via Chinatown, so pretty and vibrant at night, even in the drizzle. Sunday dawned with a forecast for steady rain, but we had planned a big day of walking and were not to be deterred. We started by crossing the Thames on the Millennium Footbridge and walked by the site of Shakespeare's original Globe Theatre before venturing into Borough Market to sample some of the many goodies there. One out of 4 of us really wanted to make a stop at Tate Modern, and Carl, Jim, and Julie were kind enough to oblige. Plus, it got us out of the rain for a bit. Then it was back out to walk along the south side of the Thames, giving Jim and Jules a preview of the London Eye, which they would ride the next morning. Next on our walking tour were the quintessential views of Parliament and Big Ben, before stopping for a light lunch so we could save room for what was to come later. Next, we walked the length of St. James Park with all its bird life, and at the far end, Buckingham Palace. We were nearing the end of our big walkabout, traversing Green Park to its eponymous tube stop so we'd have time to peruse Harrods department store and still make our date at the Wallace Collection Tea Room on time. One more underground ride and then a pleasant surprise when we got above ground again. The sun had come out. We took a few minutes to warm up and dry out before quickly passing through the exhibits on our way to the last seating of the day in the museum cafe, where Carl and I took great pleasure in introducing our friends to the tasty ritual of high tea. After walking many miles, it was time to head back to the hotel and put our feet up for the evening. The next day was a special one. Carl's double-nickel birthday dawned sunny and breezy, and we decided to take a double-decker bus ride to the Breadline Cafe, a little traditional coffee shop near Trafalgar Square. After our delicious full English breakfast, we wandered through the square and then back over to St. James Park to enjoy the sunshine and slow our pace a bit. We met up with James and Jules back at Trafalgar Square, where we had a look inside St. Martin in the Fields, which retains its name from the medieval period when it was actually in the middle of fields between Westminster and London. We stopped at the Crypt Cafe for a cup of tea and a bite to eat before heading over to the National Portrait Gallery. Next, we made our way back to Covent Garden for a drink at a lovely bar upstairs at the Opera House. After a rejuvenating afternoon nap, we met up again to walk across the river for Carl's birthday pub dinner with savory pies, Guinness, and lots of reminiscing. Did you get steak? You both got steak? Yeah, we did. Right, Carl did too. Oh, yeah. Our last full day in London dawned bright and breezy. Carl and I took the tube out to Regent's Park and had another lovely walk there, a nice bookend to our first day there in the rain. We walked through Primrose Hill and on around to Camden Market. Jules had a meet-up with her London colleague counterparts that morning, and afterwards she and Jim met us at the market for a canal boat tour to Little Venice. The canals began as a primary means of getting goods from place to place in the 19th century, and today they've become largely recreational waterways, with narrowboats traversing the canals as both vacation and permanent dwellings. Folks like to cycle, walk, and jog along the towpaths too. We disembarked for lunch in Little Venice before boarding the tube at Paddington Station, and our next stops, the Tower Bridge and Sky Garden. Sky Garden is at the top of what's known as the Walkie-Talkie Building due to its shape. There you'll have a beautiful view of the city, along with a lush garden space and a few eateries. The tickets are free if you reserve a time slot ahead of time. Definitely a nice experience. My nephew Ira, who lived in London for several years, told me recently that he once went to a sunrise yoga class there. On our way to the Fitzrovia district for dinner, we came across this Sign of the Times 3D video display called Emoji Shower. Then for our last dinner out together, we went to Circolo Popolare, recommended by Julie's colleagues, a beautiful atmosphere and delicious meal. We all agreed it was a great London adventure with cherished memories made. The next morning, Jim and Julie were off to Ireland for a couple of days, and Carl and I headed for King's Cross Station and boarded a train for Yorkshire and a few more days of exploring. We do love a good train ride. See you in York.